Hey folks, join us in Talking the Walking Dead. We've got a little episode rundown and some discussion for season 9, episode 11. And Jesus may have died, but only 3 days, episodes later, he has returned. And we've also got some teasers and speculation about what's to come. This is The Broken Dead. What's up, guys? This is Dylan.
Oh. she would. I'm Quin.
Which is probably a more accurate representation of this episode.
I love that the first time we see Alpha, leader of the Whisperers, she's shouting, I am Alpha. I'm a Whisperer.
Well, I mean, technically the first time we saw her was in the woods and she did say trail ends here.
Oh, yeah. I'm still kind of upset that they didn't do Don't Move.
Yeah, we get.
Anyways, so thanks for watching on YouTube, not on Facebook. But if you're listening in podcast form, we appreciate you too. Also, hello to all our new watchers/listeners out there in the States and internationally, of course, as well as those who are returning. We question your sanity, but we do thank you. The website is www.broken.pictures.com. And
what was that?
No.com.
You're supposed to do it this way. That's not how you do it.
My bad. Threw you off there.
Yep.
I'm ambidextrous slicing.
I tried to do that so many times with a butter knife when I was a kid. It never worked out.
Slice?
Zorro.
Like the...
Oh.
For sure.
Yeah, that's movie magic. On social media, we are on Facebook, Broken Picture Social. On Instagram and Twitter, it is broken_social. And if you feel like supporting the cause, we are on Patreon, Broken Pictures. But more importantly, if you would like, share, subscribe if you're on YouTube, go ahead and tag that little bell. And that'll let you know when we have a new episode coming out, because we do other stuff too. And if you're listening on podcast, we'd appreciate a rate and a review, especially if you're on iTunes. And you guys have any special notes, anything going on this week? Anything you want to say, shout outs or anything like that?
No shout outs that I can think of. No.
Cool. All right. So moving on. Spoiler alert.
Spoiler alert.
We will venture into spoiler territory, so be warned that spoilers are not necessarily spoilers as you would think. They're spoilers.
Cute.
So, we do have some Walking Dead news, but we're going to get into that later. So rate the episode. What did you guys think of this episode?
I'm going to give it 6 screams to whispers, or other, because that's about what happened. Yeah, if it was more positive, it would be whispers to screams. But no, they were screaming and then they went to whispers.
Yeah. So I gave it a 6 as well, just in a regular old rating. I didn't enjoy it very much. I'm keeping it in the middle ground there until they blow my pants off.
Oh, hey.
Not in a weird way. Not weird at all.
I'm waiting until April 28th to do that.
There's no wedding.
That's when we get married.
You didn't get that. Very smart.
Anyways.
I'm done. Changed my mind. I say that way too much.
Like every episode. It's like a running gag now. So I've learned not to take it seriously. I'm going to say, yeah, to me, it was pretty average. I felt like it should have been better.
Yeah, very anticlimactic.
It was informative. Like it just feels like we're swimming through the details right now, which is usually like the first half of the season. And then the back half is usually just like, heavy hitting. But, yeah. It was all right.
That's about it?
Yeah.
Yeah. That's about...
Excuse me.
Okay.
What?
Do y'all hear that?
Yeah, that's the hot water heater heating up.
Oh, Okay.
We
Yeah.
film in our garage, and the hot water heater's right there, and it must be getting hot for some reason.
Thought I was hearing jingle bells.
It does kind of sound like it. A little.
Yeah.
Polar Express
And
up
I
in
was,
her.
Like, all right, either I'm gonna say.
This is where I bite it.
Yeah. Okay.
Can I do
Wow.
the intro?
Absolutely.
Yay! I'm gonna try and do a movie voice. Episode title: Bounty. Description: The Savage Group led by Alpha confronts. No, I'm just kidding. The Savage Group led by Alpha confronts the hilltop in a harrowing attempt to retrieve her daughter. A supply run for the kingdom turns into a dangerous quest. And when we last left The Walking Dead, Daryl and the Hilltop brought Lydia back to interrogate her about this new threat, but found her uncooperative. She and Henry form a bond that Daryl quickly exploits, and they soon find out that she has been abused by her mother, Alpha, leader of the Whisperers, who she is not allowed to call mother. Just as they make progress with Lydia, her mother shows up to reclaim her. As this happens, Connie is trapped outside the gates as she and Kelly return from trying to find Luke and Alden.
Boom, boom, boom.
Hire me. I'm just kidding. Don't hire him. He's way better.
Or me.
So this episode started out. Did it feel like it started out slow, or it started out?
Yeah.
It started out very trailery. Like I felt
Yeah.
like I was just rewatching the trailers that we've already seen.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. A lot of it seemed like it was revealed, and the way they set up the teasers for this episode were so intense
Mm-hmm.
and misdirectional
Yeah.
that I almost felt
Cheated?
I almost felt cheated. Yeah.
Like I keep
Yeah.
saying, they felt very anticlimactic. Like I definitely thought somebody was going to die, and then they just made it trade out. Like they made it
Mhm.
seem like Daryl refused her and wasn't going to trade at all, but he was super willing. He was like, all right,
Yeah,
let me go
they'll
get her
light
kind
you
of thing. Because I liked it that he was actually being smart and knew the benefits of trading Luke and Alden for Lydia.
Mhm.
But then it was like just getting, I don't know.
I think my disappointment is based in like I really want to like Alpha, but I don't.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it's not necessarily the
She's
actress's fault. It's just the way they have her portrayed is really
Yeah.
weird.
I don't feel like
Yeah.
they're doing her character very much written justice.
Yeah.
Like they could very well be writing her some better lines, better quality lines, and I don't feel like they're doing that at all.
Yeah. I don't buy the accent for one.
Yeah.
And then for two, I keep waiting for just like, and I'm looking really hard for this savagery, this manipulation, and it's I mean, there's a little bit in there, and it's subtle. It's so subtle that it's almost just like, really,
Mhm.
you
Yeah.
know what I mean?
Like you're not giving enough attention to the facial expressions that she's making during like instrumental parts of the episode. Like there was one part where she kind of snickered a little bit whenever the walkers were gonna eat the baby,
Mm.
but you didn't pan in on her enough. Like Dylan even missed it. I was like, did she just snicker? Like she definitely
Yeah,
snickered.
yeah,
Like,
she smiled for sure.
she's supposed to be portrayed as savage, but they're not giving her due screen time. I feel
Yeah,
like.
I feel like there's a lot of missed opportunities. Like
Yeah.
last week when they find the walkers eating the horse, I feel like there should have been some whispers up in there eating the horse just to show the audience. And,
I mean,
and-
Lydia ate a worm.
yeah,
I mean, like-
which I know
That's
people who
not
ate worms
But
as
I'm
a
saying,
kid.
like-
You know,
It's not that far off to believe that they'll do anything for food, like eat raw meat. Is what
Yeah.
I'm saying.
Oh,
yeah, but to find them in the wild eating a horse like that would just be like, these people are nuts.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean that just takes it to a whole nother level. You
yeah.
know, than eating a worm. Like
Okay. Wow. Just keep on.
I just was not impressed
Piling
with the worm eating thing.
I wasn't impressed with it either, but I'm just saying like they'll do anything for food.
Yeah,
Yeah.
their reputation.
Doesn't precede them.
Yeah, well, it precedes them, but it's not. They're not living up to their reputation
Yeah.
so far, and they're rushing through things.
Yeah.
Mhm.
But so, anyways, all right. So our little episode breakdown here at the hilltop, we've got Alpha asking for Lydia, and Tara says they can defend themselves. So Daryl tells them to turn around, and that way nobody will get hurt. Alpha says wrong answer, which was another big build up in the
Yeah.
teasers, and she calls more whispers, but then to do nothing. You know,
Well, they're the ones who brought Luke and Alden, right?
No,
Oh, no,
because she
you're
called
right,
for them
yeah.
later. She was like,
That
bring
was
them.
when the
Go
baby
get them.
lady walked up, but they didn't reveal that she had a baby.
Right, yeah. And so then we see Enid working on Earl, and of course him and Tammy Rose, blah, 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 blah. They talk about how Alden is a replacement for their son. And then the commotion.
Super awkward. Y'all are like parents to me. But since when? Since why? Since how?
The
Like I felt like
time
that was
jump.
super
A lot happened
forced.
in the
Time,
skip.
Yeah. Time jump exposition. So then we see Connie still trapped in the cornfield or whatever that is.
Yeah, corn.
Yeah. So I
Whatever
think
that is,
somebody
it's
said, what
definitely
was the stuff that Eugene went looking for? There's a weird name.
Oh no, it's not that.
Well, I want to say Denise Huth, one of the producers,
Well, they
said
make
that
a
it was
big
whatever.
point to say that they're like they have gas, which is made from corn,
Mhm.
and so like that's why I think that they have the corn. They haven't been seen eating the corn; they've been seen, kind of saving.
Making ethanol.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and of course they've got
ethanol,
the
yeah.
alcohol too.
Yeah, which is what is that stuff called? I know exactly what you're talking about.
Yeah, I can't think.
Anyway,
of it.
moving on.
Anyway, so Daryl says that they can't have her. He knows what she'd be going back to, and Terrell basically is the level-headed one. Is like, look, we can't piss her off. If she's got Luke and Alden, she might kill him. So Daryl,
Saffron. Was it saffron? No,
No,
that was stupid. That's a spice.
Yeah. Alpha asks for the leader, and they, Daryl does his, what the hell does it matter? He growls back at her. And then she just I'll address all of you, and tells him that she basically doesn't want any conflict, but if they don't give her daughter, there will be conflict. So, and she says, I'm done talking. And Daryl not barrels down there, but he goes down there just in enough time to meet up with Henry and say, I'm not going to give her back. And he goes out there. I'm not done talking. Yeah. And goes out there, meets face to face with her. And then they have the baby scene.
That was weird.
Yeah. I feel like they were trying to go for the savagery with the baby thing, but I don't feel like it was just enough.
No, it wasn't enough.
Yeah.
And then the whole thing when Connie was in the amidst the corn, she couldn't hear anything. And then like Walker's just like that part, like thinking about that, being deaf and like being alive this long, that's pretty terrifying.
Yeah, I feel like that was probably the most terrifying part of the entire episode.
And then she got surrounded. It's like, well, there they go. Because the baby, I don't think, was the baby still crying after she got? No. Okay.
I don't know, but then to have like Tammy Rose and Earl all show up, and it's like, what?
When did they
need
come
all
with Daryl? We know Daryl left, but I didn't know they all went through the.
Yeah, why did they? I mean, I get why her sister Kelly was out there too, but I mean, really, that's all they needed. Like at this point, they're just trying to build up Tammy Rose and Earl so that when they die, we'll care. But we don't.
I think that they only did that to build the reason why Tammy and Earl would have kept the baby.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that makes sense.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
And I mean, like, you don't necessarily want to be out there with only two people. I mean, it's very possible that Tammy and Earl are decent fighters,
Mm-hmm. Yeah, even though we've never seen them outside the wall. Yeah, I mean, Earl's as strong as an ox. He's a blacksmith. But
and I mean, not that many people were willing to go out there for Connie. I mean, she's new to the group.
True.
They don't really want to risk it. I mean, Tammy and Earl have big hearts, so
Yeah.
Yeah, well, I mean, apparently they've changed from last time we seen them before the time jump, because at that point they were anti-saviors and everything. Well, that's good. Well, their son did get killed and everything.
Yeah.
Anyways, and then they embrace Alden. So yeah, I guess they've been through some character development. So this little scene with Alpha and Daryl, where she reveals that she has Luke and Alden, and it's like, it's a good trade and you're going to take it because it's a good trade. That was more what I was looking for from Alpha, just the manipulation, just like, I'm in charge and you're just going to deal with it.
But I definitely thought that they were leading up to whenever she actually releases them and Alden and Luke go to walk away. I definitely thought she was going to just reach over and kill Luke.
Yeah, I thought for sure the wrong answer thing, one of them was gone.
Yeah, she was like, hey, you didn't take my first offer. I thought she was definitely going to needle him out for sure.
Yeah, because, I mean, at this point, the good trade thing was a good point, but I mean, she really only needed one of them 1-to-1.
Yeah.
I thought for sure when one of them, like when you said,
But in
when
fairness,
they
she did say
left.
several times that she did not want conflict.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I mean, they're not like a group that really wants to interact with other people. They want their people, and that's it. So I can kind of see that.
Yeah.
I mean,
Which is not really in line with with all this craziness we've heard about them.
Mhm.
But I mean, in the comics, are they like that or?
Alpha is so in the comics. Alpha is like she's a woman that wears a mask to hide her mask, because like deep down she's like a very caring person.
Really?
And she just wants everybody to be happy and good, but she has to be this savage, brutal human being to be able to do that. And sometimes she has to like sacrifice things for that to happen. That's why she let everything that happened to Lydia happen to Lydia, so that she can do it, but she can't, like say, I'm your mama and I love you. That's why when she got her back, she popped her in the face one time. But
because it's in front of everybody.
yeah, it's in front of everybody. Behind closed doors, she's a baby. But
It's kind of like the whole, if I'm not in power, you could be hurt worse.
Yeah.
Kind of thing.
Huh.
Yeah.
Okay. See, that's completely different than everything I'd heard or what I thought she was going to be like, especially how they built her up in the series.
She's very ruthless.
Yeah.
But
it's like almost it's almost just like Carol, where she does these things to protect the people she loves, But in the last episode before this one, they kind of built her up where she's just like a manipulative, crazy person,
Mm-hmm.
But
and
so
still kind of is when it comes to like everybody else that's not her daughter.
I think in a sense she's just ahead of her time kind of thing of like she turned very quickly after, like went savage very quickly after everything went down. And I think that's the meaning of the last episode.
Yeah. She's almost like an unchecked Carol at this point. Like had like when Carol got banished, had she kept on that road, she could have very easily become someone like Alpha.
Still probably can.
Probably once Ezekiel and Henry die, probably.
Yeah. You
save Henry? I don't know.
No.
Don't save Henry.
Don't like him. Don't like him.
Okay.
Actually, I don't mind Henry. I don't really care for the actor who portrays Henry. And I mean, like, that's just my opinion.
Yeah. Of course, this story arc is annoying, where he's the annoying teenager. And, had it been Carl, we would still be hating on Carl too,
Maybe I feel like at that point, like he could handle it with just like, he would have had some naivety to it, but he would have been like, he's seen some things. He done shot somebody in the face
his own
more
mom.
than once. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
His mom. I forgot he shot his mom. So like he would have took some maturity to it, but still some naivety, because I'm pretty sure he hadn't had that type of relationship with anybody.
Yeah.
So
I agree.
Mm-hmm.
Moving on.
The scene with I don't know, some of it just really seemed contrived to me, like with, of course, Connie getting left out there, and then Luke, just happens to be the only person that sees her and can sign behind his back with one hand what's going on and where to go to save the baby.
I actually didn't mind that part as much because, in fairness, we know that they've been in difficult situations like that. And just like seasons ago, we've speculated where where Daryl was blinking in Morse code to Rick about their location.
Yeah.
It's very possible, but that they've been in a situation like this where he had to sign behind his back. And that's not ASL that they're using. That's their own contrived version of sign.
Mm-hmm.
So to me, it was very possible that, what they translated of what he was saying was like the purpose of what she was understanding.
Right.
But it wasn't word for word, as we've seen where
Kelly?
No.
Yumiko,
thank you. Will sign some signs that aren't necessarily ASL in with her signs and things like that to just let us know that they've developed their own language.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Nice. Okay. That's interesting.
That's my theory.
That makes perfect sense. I like that.
So I didn't feel like that scene was necessarily contrived, but I definitely felt like there were a lot of contrived scenes, like the kiss between Lydia and Henry. Super awkward. You think that someone who has never probably kissed anyone in her life in that type of way, and someone who's been possibly sexually abused for the most part of her life, would not initiate a physical affection like that.
Unless it was for the sake of manipulation, which she has probably had to embrace. Yeah.
Which, I mean, that it happens in the comics, except when Carl gets Lydia out, they go to the top of the hill and do the thing. But in this, it was just a kiss.
Yeah.
But
I don't feel like it was a manipulation ploy, though. Like, it almost seemed like...
She seems like a victim up to this point.
Yeah.
But some of the... Well, we'll get into it later, but some of the teasers, it almost like Alpha seems to reveal that Lydia is just a liar. You know, that's her thing.
To me, it felt like they forced the kiss for the purpose of next episode. Like, it felt contrived to only excel next episode's plot.
Yeah.
To give them some more connection than what we actually felt.
Yeah, them holding hands through the bars and that kind of thing. Yeah. And example, like Enid and Alden's entire relationship.
oh,
Like, why did they not reshoot that scene with her hair all over her face? Like, that was super weird. Like, why not just...
Maybe just show that she was in the moment. Yeah.
It was weird.
Anyways, yeah. So Daryl seems to like. It looks like they're going out of their way to show that Daryl is still checking in with Tara and letting her be the leader, but he has unilaterally taken control of the hilltop, and she's been okay with it.
Well, Tara said multiple times to Jesus, "If you go, I'm gonna have to lead, and I don't want that." Kind of thing. Like, I've been leading in your wake and I'm not enjoying it. So I felt like it was very natural for that to happen.
Okay.
And she's always been against one person leading the group universally. She knows that it's not a dictatorship. You know, she didn't agree with that with the governor. She wanted her opinion to be heard, and it wasn't. And so I really enjoy the fact that Daryl's able to run things alongside, and it's not decisions that Tara wouldn't have made. To me, that shows the parallel that they're thinking the same.
Yeah, that does make sense. I like that, how they're actually working together.
Yeah,
it makes good. And she's got a level head about it too.
Yeah.
And she's a thinker. She's
just like she told Magna, like, hey, if you have a problem, I don't know what I'm doing, so just come tell me, because
we'll
it's
figure
a
it
teaching
out.
moment.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So I like how they're doing Tara this season, where she's actually a person and not just a background.
Did not like her in the flashback, though. I don't know why you had her partially buttoned up and it was weird and awkward. I didn't like that scene at all.
I didn't notice any of that.
Yeah, I literally could not stop looking at her outfit. It was I mean, if you're going to give Rosita some nice new sweatpants, the least you can do is button her properly.
Oh, man. So, excuse me. So, yeah, then, of course, Daryl decides he's got to make the trade, even though he's like severely threatened Alpha, and Alpha's figured him out. And one thing that Norman Reedus said on The Walking Dead behind the scenes, on The Talking Dead, I'm sorry, behind the scenes, is that Alpha is not only out there, trying to get her daughter back, she's also kind of sitting back and finding out what their weaknesses are and what they care about. So that's pretty interesting. And I hope that really comes into play later, where we figure that out in the series and not have to have it explained outside the series,
Agreed.
Because that's weak writing.
There might be a time where like Alpha, like besides the fair, it will, that she'll just kind of attack each community simultaneously, and that'll be fun to see if they do, because that'll be fun. Because you know they're out there watching them. That there's having like a few here and there. It's like, okay, this is what they do, and when they do it, now pounce.
I think it was probably important to see how many times they went through their little secret out area, because Alpha is smart, I assume. And hey, Daryl is out saving Connie, and then he's back in. Oh, secret entrance.
And Henry took Lydia through there too.
Yeah, I know he didn't go through the front doors. Yeah, so I mean, she knows that there's a secret entrance. Probably not very hard to find.
And she knows where everything is too.
Yeah.
So yeah, Henry takes her out there, and they're out in the cabin. Of course, Addie with the brand new glasses this time actually looks a little taped up, like they should be.
Like they noticed people saying something about it.
So yeah, her and Enid go to get Carl back, or no, sorry, Henry back. That was actually not on purpose. So yeah, go to get him back. And I like how they used Enid to reach out to Lydia through Henry, because when Enid first showed up, everybody thought she was Lydia.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So her just survive somehow and keep going and don't let bad things change you. All that kind of stuff was everything that Lydia needed to hear, that basically Henry was trying to tell her, and everything she was trying to process by seeing all this that she thought was impossible, and all that kind of thing. So then have her come out on her own, I thought was pretty good.
I also loved how they gave that, like, we didn't see Enid after Carl died. They didn't show us Enid or anything like that. And for her to mention it, and it obviously tore her apart to even talk about it, I really was thankful for that scene, because it was kind of hard for me to believe that Enid just has moved on already, but it really showed the time that Enid has taken. Yeah, I mean, it really has shown the time that it's taken for Enid to care about somebody else.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I like how she's a much more developed character now.
Yeah, absolutely.
And all these callbacks are great too. So the crying baby scene, we talked about a little bit, but it was nice to use that as a little exposition to show that, to live with the dead means to be silent. And if you can't silence it, then it belongs to the dead, Yeah. And natural selection was like a good explainer as to like their philosophy. And it was a good scene, but I still want more, I don't know, more raw savagery, because they've built up the Whisperers to just be this huge threat and everything. And then it turns out that they're not so bad,
And the fact that the woman, who I assume was the baby's mother, holding the baby, seemed a little upset about having to leave the baby there. She was like, looking at the walkers, like, had they been savage, she just would have been like, taking it off and walked away. Like, well, gotta do what you gotta do kind of thing. But she seemed upset. Yeah,
and it seemed like they were setting the baby up as a prop to use, the way Daryl called it out, and the way, to use again, like Alpha was using the baby as a prop to use.
What did you say?
Against the hilltop.
You're gonna light us up.
Yeah,
Even
exactly.
though we got a baby that we don't mind being dead.
Yeah. So I feel like the baby should have been used as a prop and just like set it down just to show like we don't give a rip,
But at the same time, I felt that was kind of stupid, because it's like, oh, well, now we don't care if we kill your children because you don't care, kind of thing. I mean, obviously that takes a toll on someone who's actually able to do that. But like, now they know that not to use babies as a bartering chip because they don't care. Like, you showed them a weakness of your own by saying that we're okay with our people dying, kind of thing.
Yeah. Which is, but at the same time, that's scary AF. To just like, they're just like ants. They just keep coming, and it doesn't matter who dies. It's about the bigger picture and all that. But yeah, so okay, so we got, of course, they trade Luke and Alden, and let's see, she smiles with the baby, and let's see, where are we at now? Alpha broke her own rules to come get Lydia, so that's one of course, that had to happen, otherwise they would have just not encountered the Whisperers. So I mean, that shows more the humanity of Alpha, I guess. But when, I don't know, they've built him up to be such a faceless, ruthless threat, to find out that to pull back and find out that they're in that, I don't know. It just seems like they're not as big a bad as they kind of built up,
We're here, we'll just kill things, but we're not bad. We'll come have tea with you if you want to talk.
Yeah. And
we'd rather talk than fight, but
yeah. And especially with how manipulative and how crazy she was built up through Lydia's telling of the story, and to bring Alpha down a level and not be as such a big bad really makes Lydia look bad, and makes her issue not seem as bad,
Yeah.
So you know, but Henry, of course, is sold. You know, people don't like that don't get to be sorry, and she's not sorry. And it seems like they're trying to have it both ways, and you can't really have it both ways, you know, especially when you haven't taken the time. We just met this person, you know what I mean? So anyways, let's see where we at. She kisses Henry goodbye. So you didn't really care for that. Everyone's reunited. We get a sorry mom. Which I'm not sure that, like, how long has it been since she, like, thanks mom, you came back for me? Because it seemed like her entire life has been this gross manipulation and just been convinced that her mom cares but doesn't really, and she pulls back the veil, is able to see the truth, and then as someone who has been a victim of that type of thing and goes back, you know, just like the beaten wife going back to the husband that beats them, that she goes back, you do love me, and pow, you know. You know, how is that a back and forth between them the entire time, or has it been a long time since she has been shown any affection from her mom? Like, how is this relationship? You know what I mean?
In the show, I can't tell, but that's how it is. Like in the comics, like she does not show her any affection. Like deep down, she wants to, but she knows that she can't. And so Lydia just has to treat her like everybody else does. Like, you may be my daughter, but I am alpha to you.
Yeah, because I guess what I'm trying to say is that is this a situation where Alpha is constantly bringing, like what Lydia would veer away and Alpha would bring her back in with more manipulation, or is she just under her thumb the entire time?
I feel like she's under her thumb.
Yeah, that's the gist I got. But then with their interaction, it seemed different. You know what I mean? It's almost like, I don't know.
Well, I don't think they've had. Well, they may have, but I don't think they've come across anyone where like it's been a situation of someone got captured and like interrogated and things. So, and I think she probably came back for her just so she wouldn't. She didn't think she'd tell him off, but then again, she doesn't know, which is probably why she probably came back for her, because she didn't want her to tell anything.
Information,
So,
which is most times why people get rescued, you know. In other movies and stuff like that.
Yeah, and she did tell him where they had a camp too. So that's probably how in the next episode Henry's able to find them. So he's like, if they go back to that camp, I don't know. Seems like it, but anyway.
It seems like he finds them before they get back to the camp, and that he's been following them for a while. Yeah.
So they leave the hilltop with Lydia, and everything seems to be fine. But of course, Henry, you know, him and Daryl have this interaction where Daryl's just basically telling us, like, look, you know, sometimes the world is crap and you just got to live with it. You got to deal with it. And he's like, well, I've seen how you helped Alexandria when they were having it rough. And he's like, no, you don't understand. You don't know. And, you know, you don't know what I've done. So Henry just can't live with it. So he goes to get Lydia. Of course, we knew this was going to happen. And Connie is also dealing with, and this, I was not prepared to see Connie having the same issues for whatever reason. I don't know, maybe the baby shook her up or what.
I don't think she was involved in Lydia's story at all. So
she wasn't involved in Lydia's story at all, but she like saw them put the, you know, she didn't see them put the baby down. She knew that they put the baby down, that the baby, they were just gonna let the baby get eaten, and she's like, oh snap, what if there are other babies?
That's how I felt like it was supposed to be,
Yeah.
So.
But, yeah, and...
But she wasn't even the one who ended up keeping the baby. Earl and Tammy kept the baby.
Yeah.
I don't know. I felt like...
Yeah, and we don't really know enough about this group to know if they're... I mean, I know they're survivors, and, well, I guess when they first came in, Magna seems like the fighter. She's the one that's more like Rick in their group. But it doesn't seem, it seems like the other ones are more, they're just survivors. They're not the type of people that see something wrong and have to correct it like Rick.
Yeah, and like Connie, I felt like she had to be convinced to go get Luke and Alden to go look for them originally. Like, she almost didn't even want to go, I felt like. And so she was ready to head back to camp. And then she was like, well, I got to stay with my sister. So, I mean, to go out there and risk her life and not tell her sister or do anything for people she doesn't even know, even if she might possibly be able to save them, I felt like didn't really match up with her, her story.
Seems like another contrived thing with Connie.
Yeah, I feel like they're going to try and flesh things out after. Like we've seen this like they're taking people's story arcs and revealing things after the fact that should have been revealed before.
Yeah.
Yeah, because after the fact always feels fake.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so, you know, she puts on a red shirt and goes with Daryl.
Because somebody's gotta die. It's not gonna be Daryl.
Yep.
It's not gonna be Daryl.
Yep. So we see that, of course, everybody's hanging out. Connie's not digging it. Eden and Alden get after it. Tammy, Rose, and Earl take care of the baby. Henry lies awake in bed, gets up, goes after Lydia. Addie. This struck me. It was like Addie, like it's obviously the middle of the night. Everybody's like, you know, gone to their back to home and everything. Addie's like, oh, I went to check on Henry and found a note. Like, what were you doing over there?
Right? That's what I was like. What are you doing trying to be in his room at 12 o'clock at night?
Yeah. So she does the right thing, brings the note to Daryl, and of course Daryl, you know, checks in with Tara, and on his way out but is joined by Connie, and they leave together.
Which is a much smaller group than the comic. The comic it was 4 people that went after Carl. It's just 2.
Oh wow.
It was Rick, Michonne, Maggie. I'm missing somebody. It was another
Jesus.
It was not Jesus. It was another
Jesus
lady.
was still alive at this point, right?
Tammy?
Andrea.
Oh, because Andrea was still.
Because in the comic, that's Rick's boo instead of Michonne.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Yep. So that was it for the Hilltop story. Then we've got the Kingdom. We get a flashback of Carol, Ezekiel, and Jerry. And of course, Jerry drops the bomb. Hey, we're up the pole, whatever that means. We're preggers. We're bunned up. It's like, leave it to Jerry to come. I've never heard up the pole. Like, what does that mean?
It means that they're pregnant, obviously.
Well, yeah, I'm just saying, like, what is that? I'm trying to put together, like, how that came to be.
You put in the notes that his wife is pregnant. Did they get married? Did they have a ceremony? Does he wear a ring? Like, is it his wife?
Yeah, they're together. Okay, it was late when I was reading.
I just wanted to make sure that I didn't miss something.
Yeah, I put his wife because when I wrote that, I didn't know her name, but it's Nabila.
Yeah.
I looked it up after. So anyway, Jesus and Tara shows up. 3 episodes later, he's back, and they show up with meds, and they name drop Maggie several times. Yeah. Just to let everybody know that Maggie's still in the mix.
This was the actual last episode that she appeared in. It was just her name, though.
Yeah. And so it seems like this. Of course, this is some time in between. This is after Michonne has written the charter, and then it looks like something happened where she didn't go through with it. Maybe the X-Scars thing. Of course, we know by Carol's hair that it's sometime in between. Yeah. But of course, Maggie's still at the Hilltop. This is the point where Tara leaves Alexandria for the Hilltop and steals some meds and the charter on her way. And so maybe that's what the beef between Michonne and Tara when they meet up at the Hilltop. Maybe it's been that long since they've seen each other.
Yeah.
Maybe.
But yeah, Tara moved up the ranks pretty quick at the Hilltop, apparently. She gives it to King Ezekiel for safekeeping, and he's proud to have it, which makes sense. I think that's a good fit. Of course, we want Nicolas Cage to come steal that from him.
Yeah, very national treasure feeling.
Oh, yeah, that case. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So then we go back to present time, and King Ezekiel is looking over the charter, and somebody tells him that it's 5 minutes to go. Then he's talking to Diane outside, and we find out that they're going on a hunt. And they found like this herd of like 100 elk, and it's being approached by a herd of like 200 walkers. and they're going to get there. They've got about 6 hours to get there, get the elk, and get out. But he's got other plans.
Speaking of the elk, I love how they finally have incorporated that animals are kind of on the rise and in this area because they're obviously on the East Coast, right? They're near Washington, D.C., some things like that. Elk are not native to the East Coast. They used to be a long, long time ago, so they're called Eastern elk. But they're extinct based on us moving here, being pilgrims and killing them all. But now they're obviously on the rise. They've migrated back over here, this type of thing. Now we've got elk on the East Coast again. So I really enjoyed that they finally are talking about things that aren't native to their area.
I didn't know that either.
Yeah.
Yeah. And one thing that kind of got me is like, I know they've got guns but they're hunting with bows and arrows for elk. And elk are ginormous and they can be extremely aggressive.
That's true. I was going to say something about that when we were watching the episode last night, but I completely forgot. Wonder if they're doing like an Indian style where they used to run bison over cliffs and that's how they would
Native
kill
American.
a bunch of them, but it didn't really, correct. But it doesn't really seem like that's what they've done. And the area looked very fieldish.
And when we do see the dead elk, there's one that's covered up, and they've got several. We see like 3 or 4 wagons, but there's only one elk in the back. But apparently they were getting all these 100 elk because they were one. He said it could feed the hilltop. He said half of Hilltop, Oceanside, and Alexandria for a week. Yeah, there's enough to feed all the kingdom and half of the Hilltop, Oceanside. So this is also only the second mention of Hilltop we've had since the time jump,
as well as Oceanside.
Yeah, that's what I meant. Not Hilltop, Oceanside. Yeah. Of course, Hilltop is in every episode.
Yeah,
but So apparently that kind of debunks that theory that Hilltop or Oceanside is gone. So they're still out there. They're still in communication with each other. So everything's good at Oceanside, apparently.
Just something weird that we can't see them for whatever reason.
Yeah,
I'm sure that they'll be happy to not have to eat
main
fish.
story. Yeah, for sure. This is real gamey.
And I like that they incorporated the elk, but elk are, like he mentioned, extremely big, extremely heavy to carry. Why would they put them on a wagon? Why wouldn't you field dress it and bring the meat back? Don't understand. And then why would you run the risk?
The walkers are coming.
Right, I understand, but you have a side mission that's way less important that you could have made a second trip for, and you're not worried about the meat spoiling at all.
You're thinking about Carol. You're thinking like Carol now, not like King Ezekiel. King Ezekiel is like, let's get it and go get my movies going.
Super dumb.
He wants to watch Talladega Nights. That's what he wants to do.
Yes.
Maybe he's really wanting to watch National Treasure because he did a mean Nick Cage impression. Yeah, I'm struggling on that
Talking
word.
Dead.
Yeah.
Yep. So, of course, Carol walks up and finds out that he finds out that she's going on the hunt, and then she presses and finds out about the side mission, and he decides to take her. And we see that Jerry and Nabila have 3 kids now, not just one.
Mm-hmm.
And Carol's kind of having some empty nest feeling, and so she wants to get out and not get busy, but stay busy.
Get her hands dirty.
Yeah. And then they get to the theater, and he shows her what's going on. And this theater, a little Easter egg, is playing Night of the Living Dead. Of course, some of the letters are missing.
And it's the Royal Theater. Like the name of it was the Royal.
Oh, like
he's King Ezekiel.
Oh, that's cool. Yeah. Yeah. So they say they play the boombox, get the zombies / walkers, if you're still hung up on that, because they don't even call them walkers anymore. I don't think they're just the dead now. So yeah, they distract them, and they have like this little jam moment. They're playing a lot more music in this season.
I really loved how Jerry, like that little scene with Jerry was just awesome. I loved it.
Yeah, they're really
great.
playing up his character.
Yeah.
And,
which makes me sad because he's probably going to die.
Kill him.
No!
He was on the couch yesterday.
Yeah.
Oh, wait, was
Yeah. Sunday.
Yeah.
So, of course, Carol is the voice of reason. Ezekiel is the voice of, I was going to say
Dreams.
whimsy, but of course,
Wonder.
wonder and trying to move forward and all this kind of stuff.
Hope. Voice of Hope.
Voice of Hope. That's right. Thank you. So they kind of had this debate on whether the projector bulb is necessary, and Carol's like, "What the heck? You're risking the lives of fathers and mothers." And he's like, "Well, because they're fathers and mothers, I want this." And Jerry backs him up. It's like, "I really want my kids to see this, And he makes a good point for the fair, that it's whimsical and people need to see that. And it makes memories and all this. Really, really does build a good argument for that. Except that it seems like each time they build an argument for the arts, they cut it down almost immediately with harsh reality.
Yeah.
Like, it's so worth it, but it wasn't worth it.
Except that in this end, it worked out.
Yeah, it did work out.
Nobody died.
And Carol did kind of come over to that side.
Yeah.
Of course, everything went wrong, but it still worked out.
And I originally had a problem with how they shot that scene of the music playing and they're just shooting arrow one by one kind of thing with Diane and Carol. But Dylan made the point when we were watching it.
Closer.
But Dylan made the point when we were watching it that I moved like really close. That they're not that unfamiliar with actual regular walkers. It's the Whisperers that are now the threat.
Mm-hmm.
And really enjoyed that, although I'm sure that Tammy and Earl don't feel the same way.
Yeah.
Since their son unnecessarily died.
Mm. Yeah, with the runs and everything.
Dumb.
Yeah, that was
super
completely his fault.
Situation.
And that was Hilltop, not Kingdom.
Yeah, but I'm just saying, like,
Same
threat of walkers
point,
not
yeah.
being that big now, but it was not that long ago.
Yeah, because they kind of made the point before the Whisperers showed up that even somebody like Eugene can just manage walkers now.
Yeah.
Like they've got it. And if you notice, they even still called the herd of walkers by a name. They said like Alfred or something
They're
like
still
that.
doing that.
Mm-hmm. So let's see. Then he reveals to Carol that his side mission has a side mission, and they get the light box for the charter, which is a really cool idea.
I can frame it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So then they have like this little discussion where like he had brought her over to his side when it comes to, getting the light bulb and everything. But then he also has the realization, she convinces him, that they probably need to start looking elsewhere, that the kingdom might be in ruins soon, that it's just breaking down. And he didn't want to let it go, but he's like, you know what? I should be thinking of other options. So the boombox dies. Everything starts to become a problem. Jerry drops the bulb. Things go south. And then Carol's like, hey, you know what? We can figure this out. And she steps up as queen. And even though Ezekiel was ready to abandon the mission, she's like, hey, you know what? Let's not abandon it. We can do this.
Doesn't the queen have a say?
Yeah. It's like, and they made the point several times this season that she does not like being called the queen.
Mm-hmm.
So for her to refer to herself as the queen is kind of a big deal.
Love blow, Carol.
Weird.
Oh yeah,
It's still a weird thing.
super weird. Super weird. I still feel like Carol is she's gonna take off the mask one day. She's just been playing this character. Mm-hmm. This is one of her chameleon suits. This has all been just something to blend in and not die in a sense. And so I don't think that Carol has really changed after her time in her house by herself.
To a certain extent, I feel like the hair issue it hits more home to like her core.
Oh yeah, with her long hair.
But I mean,
Yeah.
I think that they're overplaying that. I mean, Henry even making such a big point as to bring it up to Daryl and say, I mean, look at my mom now. She's got long hair. Is just another really convincing ploy,
So that when Ezekiel and Henry do die, then she goes
Then it's
ape
dramatic.
shit that it's.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Yep. Yep. It's I guess at this point, even though we've got a new showrunner and everything, it's still like we're still seeing
Struggle.
Well, no, we're still seeing them. The storylines coming from a mile away.
Oh yeah.
We've got it figured out. What?
We think we do.
Well, yeah, we think we do. And, We'll see. So then as they're leaving, Ezekiel's like, well, maybe it's time for us to stop losing and things are going to go our way. And then we see this symbol painted on a sign as they leave. However, the symbol has been seen before in a promo image where Carol is sitting in the throne room by herself and she's looking concerned. She's sitting in a chair. She's looking concerned at this piece of paper that has the same image, but it's actually upside down.
What image?
The little arrow with the line.
That was on the back of the sign.
Yeah. And some people said that, this is a sign that means the hilltop, because it looks like, and that makes sense, but obviously not at this point. So then we see King Ezekiel. The music's playing, everything's good. The light in the background, everything's romanticized. King Ezekiel and Carol, and the light from the projector is running. And then Jerry's taking care of the baby while Nabila sleeps. Everything's good. Next week it's going to get dark. I really hope.
It has to. That turn has to come at some point in time.
Yeah.
So, yeah. We'll see.
Yep. So next on The Walking Dead, you guys have anything else for this episode before we move on?
I feel like the Whisper should have came sooner. That's about it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, they played Negan too long, and I feel like they might be making the opposite issue
With the Whisper.
problem is playing the Whispers too quick.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, they could have did a thing during All Out War where the Whispers kind of like came in, and then that like been like a whole nother threat that Rick was looking at while he was still on the still on the show. It's like, these guys are over here, I know they exist, but I still got to deal with this. But then like certain times, like both groups, like say a fight breaks out between the Saviors and some people from the Kingdom and the Hilltop and Alexandria, but the Whispers, like, they get swarmed by a herd of walkers.
Waskers.
But they get taken out, but a lot of them
golden walkers. Sorry.
Like a lot of them get taken out, but they're going through what's left of the bodies and they realize, oh wait, they didn't get bit, they were stabbed. But who would do this? And
that would have been cool.
Yeah.
But I guess they're not wanting into the show, and they're kind of running up on the end of they're catching up with the comic quick.
Super quick. So, I mean,
I think that's probably one of the reasons the fans are kind of like, okay, you know what?
Yeah. And then they can do original things or just turn it into Fear the Walking Dead. 1, 2.
Oh my gosh. Yeah.
So one theory is that the symbol is an astrological symbol.
Mm-hmm.
And is not a Greek letter or anything like that. I'm trying to see what symbol they're referring to because I'm not seeing it on the astrological alphabet. But it said for Quin 6. I don't know how to pronounce that. So there's some different theories, but Angela King did note that we would find out sooner rather than later. So It's definitely coming up here soon.
Yeah. One of the most convincing theories that I've heard so far is that it's going to draw the Kingdom into the Whisperer War because that is the Whisperer territory, and that Mark is the theater was a holding place for them. That's why that's why they were
get
put
their skins. Bruh.
And that's why the walkers were kind of like partitioned off into that area. And now they've gotten rid, because they said 30, 40 walkers in there. And somebody made the point, it's like, okay, well, it's what, 10, 11 years since the apocalypse, and these walkers are still in there. No, they've been put
Very
in
unlikely.
there. Yeah.
I dig it.
So,
especially when we've seen walkers break through glass before.
Mm-hmm.
I mean,
yeah. And so like they're saying, okay, well, Beta, they need to go make Lydia a new mask. They're going, and they just lost some. So now they're going to go to that holding place to get more material from these walkers and find out that it's been ransacked and ruined by the Kingdom. And so it's like, okay, well, you crossed the line. Now we've got to do something about it.
Hurt our lives.
probably
Dead stuff.
Dead stock.
Probably one of the only reasons why they mentioned the territory thing even to begin with, like you crossing our territory or our land or whatever. So
Yeah,
probably the only reason they even brought that up.
yeah, and that does make sense that they're trying to keep peace with somebody, but then somebody else. You've got, of course, the whole I guess story mechanism that they're using with Henry is that one person's trying to keep everything in okay, and then a third party screws things up. And then, of course, because they're in a relationship with the third party, they've got to back the third party up, and it all spins out of control.
Makes sense.
So next on The Walking Dead, this episode 12 is going to be called Guardians. Do you want to read that, or do you want me to read that?
Yeah.
Okay. So the description says, while one community struggles to ease tensions that threaten to divide from within, the true nature of another group comes into focus, and a mission to rescue a friend has deadly consequences. So they're really teasing something dark for next episode. And I am so ready for something dark. I'm ready for it to hit the fan. Like, I cannot wait. That's what I want to see. So while one community struggles, which community do you think that is to ease the tensions? Do you think that's the Kingdom or Hilltop? Or no, actually, I think that's Alexandria.
Alexandria?
I think Alexandria is struggling because they get back and they find out that everybody's kind of going against what Michonne said, you know.
It was Gabriel and somebody else arguing in the trailer. So yeah, it's probably Alexandria.
Yep. So we've got a couple different teasers, and I'll just kind of go through these real quickly. In the next episode teaser, we see Lydia is still cleaned up. She's walking with the Whisperers. You got me. And with the Whisperers, and then she's stopped with them at, I don't know if it's a base camp or whatever. And then we get a voiceover of Lydia saying, I acted like I needed help. I lied to get you to trust me. We see Henry hiding in a ditch. He fights off a Whisperer and then is thrown on the ground by Beta. Alpha looks at Henry and then at Lydia, and Lydia punches Henry in the face. Beta says tells Alpha we need to protect ourselves. We need to be ready. Beta helps Alpha put her mask on. We see Daryl watching the walkers from the bushes. He and Connie get to the ditch that Henry was in, and the dog is sniffing the ditch. Then we hear Michonne voiceover saying, putting ourselves out there is dangerous. Connie holds up a note to Daryl that says he caught up with them, obviously meaning Henry. Mm-hmm. Then, of course, we get Michonne saying the part, is dangerous. And I can't really tell who she's talking to, but it seems like she's surrounded by people. So maybe she's talking to like just the community in general. And then we see Beta. I thought it was a tree behind Henry's head, but it might actually be another walker or another Whisperer.
Other than Beta or behind their head?
Like they're up against a tree and he stabs the tree behind their head. But then like in the next scene, I thought it was Henry, because in the next scene we see Henry backed up against a tree. No knife though behind his head, but Alpha approaches him in that scene. And then we get Gabriel saying, who are we supposed to turn to when we need help? Obviously him and Michonne are arguing about their approach and, how they should reach out or stay in. Alpha then uses a bloody hand to shush an unknown captive, whether it's one of theirs or someone else. We don't know. A guy with no mask. It looks dirty. Then in the dark, we see Beta bring Henry to Alpha and Lydia. Lydia is still clean, but she's wearing different clothes. So maybe she's got a dresser somewhere. But then we get a shot in that same scene. We see that they're keeping their masks on these sticks, like heads on pikes. Mm-hmm. So then Alpha throws a knife down on the ground, and it seems like she wants Lydia to kill Henry. Lydia looks up and she kind of breaks into tears, like she has a breakdown. She doesn't want to do it. And then someone, looks like Alpha, washes bloody hands in a metal basin, and it's kind of intercut with the Whisperers kind of marching towards the camera, and Alpha pulls her mask on and kind of like puts her face into the camera. So that's our next week teaser. Then kind of fleshes these out with this Talking Dead sneak peek. We see Henry watching the Whisperers with Lydia from that ditch, and then one approaches from behind and tells him to put his stick down, and Henry easily takes him out. But then while he's doing that, Beta comes up from behind and just yanks him out of the ditch and throws him down before Alpha and Lydia said he says that Henry's been tracking them he's been tracking Henry since the Glades, and Henry's been tracking them even longer. And Alpha asks, just him? And Beta says, just him. And then Alpha very sweetly thanks Beta, which Alpha is just confusing me because every time I see her, it's like a different person. Like her character is all over the place. But I'm sure it'll make sense later. Right, yeah. So from what I know about Beta, that the reason he doesn't take over is because he likes her or something like that. Mm-hmm. It makes sense that she's using him like that. So then Alpha asks Henry, who are you? And that's the Walking Dead sneak peek, or the Talking Dead sneak peek, rather. So then there's another teaser on YouTube, on AMC's YouTube page, and we see the Whisperers. I can't. We see the Whisperers are walking back to their little camp area, and Alpha says to Lydia, do you know why I trust them? Because they don't lie. And she grabs Lydia by the face. She says, you had to lie. She caresses her hair. So did they. It's what they do. And then they start walking again. Alpha says, they're just words, air, nothing more. Remember that. And then she gives Lydia an apple and caresses her hair again. Lydia bites the apple and Alpha pets her on the head. So it seems like a very manipulative moment where she's trying to bring Lydia back into the fold.
Mm-hmm. I haven't seen that yet, but just from hearing the description, it sounds very want an apple kind of thing.
Yeah, like Wicked Witch type deal.
Yeah, manipulative.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. Anyway, That's all I got to say about that.
So those are all your teasers right there. There was some big news, I guess, that's not really confirmed, but comicbook.com is a website, and they do a lot of Walking Dead coverage and stuff like that. And one of their commentators, I guess, does some like episode reviews and stuff like that. And there's an interview with him on their Facebook page, I want to say. And he seems to have some inside knowledge on where the season is going and what's going on. And so like, it's interesting, but it's unconfirmed because it's like, where's he getting this information from? Because he works for comicbook.com. He's a reporter, basically, not a Walking Dead person. Mm-hmm. So he basically says, if you're a fan of Rick Grimes, you'll be a fan of Fear the Walking Dead season 5, that the universe will feel smaller after season 5. And there are some rumors that Fear is going to end after season 5, but nothing has been confirmed yet, of course. So, I mean, is there reference to Rick? Is Rick going to show up? Like, what does that even mean?
I don't like it either way.
Maybe they make it to Atlanta.
Yeah.
But I mean, they're out of Atlanta.
Yeah, they were like in Mississippi or something crazy like that. And the timeline is off too.
Yeah, the timeline's super off because our group is in Washington at this point. They've been in Washington for years.
Yeah, and they jumped ahead like 6 years or something like that.
And we never ran into them or anything like that, unless that's the group that we're talking about. Whenever the gap happens and they meet, and
oh my God, they killed them.
I hope so.
Yeah, and apparently Morgan is like the new leader of this Fear the Walking Dead group now. Yeah, I don't watch Fear because I gave it a shot. I didn't like it, but now they've apparently revamped it or something, and they're trying to. He said the universe is going to get smaller, so maybe they're consolidating.
Spoiler, now that Emily Dickens isn't on there, I'm okay to watch it.
But I feel like I need to go back and watch the last 2 seasons to catch up because everybody from season 1 is dead except for the daughter, I think, and the black guy. I can't remember his name, but he was one of my favorite characters.
I stopped at season
You
Me
too?
too.
Yeah.
2.
I think I might have watched season 3.
No, we didn't.
I was
Okay.
gonna watch season 3, but I think that's when Nick died.
Yep.
And I was like,
Mm.
I like Nick. I don't want to watch this anymore.
Yeah, I like Nick too. I didn't watch the.
We heard that he died, and so we didn't even bother.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. We didn't watch season 3.
Oh, I said Emily Dickens. It's definitely Kim Dickens.
Yeah, Kim
Sorry,
Dickens.
Emily Dickens wrote a bunch of poetry about
She's
killing
an
your
author.
husband in old times.
Yeah. So there's also more information. He says that Rick Grimes was taken to somewhere far in the northeast corner of the U.S. So, I mean, how could you get more northeast than Washington? So I'm thinking maybe it would make, like they're saying like Maine or like, I think the other community is like in Ohio or something like that.
Mhm.
But that's more actually
That's
west.
central.
Yeah, that's more west than east from
New York,
Washington.
then?
I'm
Maryland?
thinking New York would make sense because, I mean, that was already a huge place.
Yeah.
I mean, I know Atlanta crashed and burned. Maybe
New York's
New York.
it's just fine. It's normal.
Why
New
would you
York.
even want
They
to
just
go
live-
there? Yes, they didn't even
Just
notice.
yelling at zombies like, hey, get out of the freaking way, you zombie. I'm trying to walk here.
that's hilarious.
His name is Coleman Domingo, who plays Victor
Yes,
Strand.
yes. And he was in, oh, shoot. What's the Beale Street movie that just came out?
If Bill Street could talk.
If Beale Street Could Talk. Yeah, he's in that with Regina King, who just won an Oscar
Congrats.
Yeah.
for her role in
Also,
that.
Captain
Marvel? America?
America
Oh,
helped
yeah.
her walk up, and it was the sweetest thing in the world.
Mhm.
Regina King needed help up the stairs a little bit because of her dress and her heels, and so Captain America helped her up, and it was just the sweetest thing on earth.
Oh, well, thank you, Captain America. You're welcome, man.
My pleasure.
Yeah, he is Captain America.
Yeah.
Johnny Storm my foot. So then we say this guy also says that the Rick Grimes movies will have some sci-fi elements to it.
So they're gonna fight aliens? Cool.
Yeah, I don't know. Are they gonna start? The walkers are gonna actually start adapting and
Mutating.
start mutating or like regaining consciousness in some way, or do they find a cure?
Do animals start getting in?
Yeah, what where are they going with this?
If they find a cure, the movies will be the end.
Mhm.
But if they don't, I mean, lasers are cool.
Yeah.
So-
Yeah, and what that could be so many things. Also, he says that there's The Walking Dead expanded universe and spin-off news coming at the next Comic-Con, that they're holding back a lot of this information to release then. But he also says that a lot of this stuff that was kind of the plan before, like when they were plotting out this season, and that some of that stuff might have changed last he heard, but this is what he has. So I don't know. That's a lot.
Sounds very theoretical.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm not sure what his source is or where he heard all this, but it's interesting. So we put it out there. And it's not necessary. It could be a spoiler, but at this point it's unconfirmed.
I kind of feel like The Walking Dead, the show, especially if Fear ends at season 5, I feel like this is probably going to go one more or maybe 2 more seasons, if that.
Yeah, because nobody cares about it. Nobody's watching it.
Yeah, and I feel like everybody's story, there's not really too much left of a story to tell
Mhm.
with everyone that's left. But if you, like, they have their ending, bittersweet, happy, however it may be, and then kind of like leave just a little bit of thread there, and then with the movies, and then Rick comes back, grabs that thread, everything ties in together. It's like, there's our neat bow, here's our universe of 10 years worth of stuff, enjoy, goodbye.
Mm.
So
Yeah, it would be nice if they did that. I don't know.
I feel like they're definitely going to try and force it into something that it's not, to have its own, like,
To keep it going
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
try more original
To force it,
content
yeah.
and stuff. Yeah.
but
Because even with like this last episode, or not this past episode, but last week's where we got the reveal with Lydia and Alpha, which was a good episode.
Yeah.
It was the lowest rated episode or lowest viewed episode in a long time.
Yeah.
And so, like, some people are even like, well, is The Walking Dead going to get canceled now? Like, what's going on?
I mean, because
But-
it costs a lot of money to make these episodes
Yeah.
and to do all of these things.
Mhm.
And so
And
it makes it really hard.
Yeah, you're bringing in huge stars to play the big bads every time.
And these stars are getting bigger. And then you've got Michonne, who's in
Black Panther.
Black Panther. I almost said The Walking Panther. Black Panther, and people who are needing and demanding more money and things like that. It just gets more expensive to make. And you don't
Yeah.
have
And then
good reviews.
everybody's leaving.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's kind of fallen. It's almost like they were trying to do more, but it's not really working out for them.
Yeah.
And
Almost
which
too
kind of
old.
sucks.
Yeah.
I
I
mean,
feel bad for Angela Kang because she got handed
oh my
this
gosh, yeah.
bomb with a lit fuse already, and
Yeah.
she's just trying to put it out, but it's just not. Every time she tries to put it out, it just sparks right back up. It's like a trick candle kind of thing. I feel bad for her.
Yeah, at every turn she's being cut off, and
Yeah.
it really sucks because you can see that she has a lot of potential as a showrunner.
And a lot of talent.
Yeah.
I mean, she's given us a lot of talent.
Yeah,
so far.
she's been there since I think like season 2.
Yeah.
So
for a long
she's
time.
been all throughout the good stuff and the bad stuff. So she,
She's
has
wanting
a
to give us
perspective.
quality.
Yeah,
Let her do the movies.
Yeah, for sure.
And
Scott Gimple's gonna have
Yeah.
him though. There's
Yeah.
no way that he's not.
yeah. But at the same time, they did only give Melissa McBride and Norman Reedus 3-year contracts. So and this is one.
Mhm.
So
So-
maybe 2 more seasons and wrap up the movies. We'll see where it goes. But yeah, we'll be here for it. We'll see where it goes. I'm interested to see how they're going to do it. And I think ratings would come up if they did say, okay, we're going to end it instead of everybody just kind of like, okay, what's going on?
Yeah.
Because if they said, okay, well, this is the end. Like when they started when the news about Rick came out and they started advertising, this is Rick's last episode. A lot of people came back for that because they want to see how they do that. So I feel like if they did decide to end it and put a bow on it, if they did say, okay, come back for the final season or seasons, then I think a lot of people would come back. And that would just, yeah, because we could see where the story's going, at the light at the end of the tunnel.
But anyway,
Yep. So I think that's it for us.
thanks for
Unless
watching.
unless you guys have anything else.
Nope, sir.
Nope. Okay,
I was gonna
cool.
let you use my paper.
Oh, my bad. So, yep. I'll be sorry, I always get tongue tied on the part. So thanks for watching on YouTube, listening on the podcast. We appreciate a rate and review if you would. And if you'd like and share on YouTube, we'd appreciate that. Share the video or the podcast, either way on social media. You can tag that little bell.
Ding.
And that'll let you know when we have a new video coming out on YouTube. On social media, we are on Facebook, we're Broken Pictures Social. On Instagram and Twitter, we are Broken_Social. And if you're feeling generous on Patreon, we are Broken Pictures. But please do like, share, and subscribe, and let other people know that we're out here doing this thing. So this is Dylan,
I'm Lydia.
This is Quin.
and thanks again. Peace.
Bye.